to try and make our schools even more effective than they currently are. My role, I'm the Group Director of Technology, so I work across all the schools in helping to guide their strategy. I'm joined here today with Dr. Robert Bastin here, who's instructed me to call him Rob, which is slightly less formal, and two students from two of our schools, Evie and Adam, who are going to be, all of these people are going to be speaking in a minute when I finish. I'm going to tell you about something called United Classroom. United Classroom is our attempt to try and leverage some of the better things about MOOCs and make it work at a secondary level. We also have some schools trying to bend over backwards to help those children stay and offering what we call a non-subject specialist teaching. So a typical example might be physics A-level being taught by a biology or chemistry teacher, which is obviously, in terms of subject knowledge, far from optimal. And this is really restricting what our students can achieve. So our ambition is to try and give every student the opportunity to study whatever they like from a United Learning school. So you'll all have heard of MOOCs, I'm sure. No, some shaking heads. Okay, the M is for massive, the O for open, online courses. So HE organisations, universities have been offering this for a couple of years, where you can, as an individual, sign up and do a course online, basically watching videos, completing exercises. I've done one myself. I learned how to program in Python using a MOOC. It was really, really tough going. I only carried on going because I'd made a public commitment that I was going to do it, and I didn't want to look stupid, but actually it was really hard to learn in this way. Whenever there was any time pressure, it was one of the things that I always felt tempted to stop doing. So we wanted to take the kind of openness and the accessibility of the MOOCs, but actually remove some of those problems which will get in the way of students. If you teach in a secondary school, you'll probably recognise that most children don't learn that well without a structure. They need to be helped in many ways. So MOOCs have lots of problems, loads of dropout rates, millions of people start them, very few people complete them. They don't really, not in a really clever way, join up those students who are all following the same course and allow them to support each other. Not effectively. There's a lot of message boards and things like that, but nothing much more than that. At the secondary level, we really struggled with, could we use, with them being open, the e-safety concerns around having other people contacting our students. So we went for a model that we call SPOC, a small private online course. And when I say small, we are talking about classes of 14 maximum, which is very luckily a number that the research suggests works quite well, and also the number that you can have in a hangout at any one point plus the teacher. So that worked quite nicely. We have designed a live lesson structure. So in the example that Bob's about to talk about, there is a taught lesson that the children participate in and engage in. So it's not a Khan Academy clone. This is lessons that are taking place, just not geographically in that school. There's support at both ends from teachers, so there is a structure to help children in their learning. I missed a step there. There's also the online element too. So a lot of the collaboration that happens that makes this so powerful is happening evenly. It's between students and between teachers. And one of the most important things we did was de-risk this. We decided to make this as simple as possible. We wanted to be able to deliver it via a browser, via a simple piece of technology that would work every time, so Chromebook suggested itself. And actually, a year ago, to this day, I walked around this enormous, crazy show, trying to engage different big suppliers who I won't name in this idea. And they all listened, all the big names you've heard of, they all went, that sounds really interesting, let us know how you get on, and thanks for your time. Until I came here and I met a guy called Adam. Are you in the audience somewhere, Adam? Adam Stewart from Google, who listened and went, that sounds really interesting, what can we do to help? And since that point, they've been instrumental in making this really, really just flow, removing all the technical barriers. So now that any student can, all they really need is a wireless connection, the Chromebook will give them Rob's lesson, and they're good to go. So I'm going to hand over now, and Rob's going to talk about what this actually looks like in real life.
Okay, thank you, Dominic. So, as Dominic said, we were choosing to do an online astronomy course, mainly because it's something that we don't offer in a lot of the schools in the group, and something that people really get passionately interested in. So we started kind of this time last year talking about how we would do it, and this culminates in a selection process which really focused on two things: the students wanting to do it because they were interested in the subject, but also because they had a willingness. They thought it was going to be an interesting thing to do for them. So we started with a face-to-face meeting, which was actually at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, not too far from here. And it was a lovely way for me to meet the students, and for also the students to start developing those peer relationships, which were going to be essential as we went through the rest of the year. Really kind of developing that presence that they would then have online. Now, in September, just to say on that induction day, we also then gave them their Chromebooks, which then they had over the summer holidays, so they could get used to the interface, they could get used to being familiar with the way that things like the drive works, in the way that they were going to work through. When we came back in September, after a couple of sessions where we were working through some of the, mainly the issues with kind of networks and those kind of things, and getting these sessions really working well.
When I first heard there were astronomy lessons for only my year group, I was ecstatic, because when I think of astronomy, I think of the stars, planets, comets, galaxies, black holes, and so many countless other things that exist in our universe. And when I was chosen, I felt really honoured, because considering the amount of people in my school that wanted to participate in these lessons.
I wanted to experience this new teaching method to see how easy it would be to adapt.
There's much more depth than I would usually have been explained to in a conventional science lesson, and that the teachers explain all the topics really well. Thank you, Dr. Bastin, and Mr. Padov, who's somewhere here. Thank you. And yeah.
And Evie, how have you found working with the others on the course?
Well, using shared documents enables us to easily collaborate on work, and we can communicate with each other through the video calling system or through email. But I do sometimes find that the lack of face-to-face interaction can lead to some misunderstandings between us.
And it's interesting, what have you found tricky on the course?
The most challenging part of the whole astronomy lessons was the mathematics, because it can get extremely hard at certain times. I eventually get through some of the questions they give us, but some really turn my head, so I ask help from the teachers and the students.
And I guess the key question as well is, what do you want to do in the future, Adam?
Well, I'd like to be an aerospace engineer, because I want to build my own things, and I find it amazing what things we can create. People like who created the Rosetta lander, which landed on the comet last November, if they can do something amazing as that, why can't I too?
And I'd like to go into law, as I find the balance of facts and interpretations to be very interesting.
Fantastic. I think, Eve, you wrote something you wanted to finish with. You had an idea you wanted to finish with.
I think that learning online is a viable method of teaching, but I do feel that it would mainly be suited to more fact-based lessons, science and maths, especially as it can be supplemented with visuals.
So that was the students' own. They wrote that themselves. Fantastic. I'm going to pass back to Dominic just to summarise what we're doing next.
Thank you. The GCSE in astronomy, before this existed, were probably close to zero, not because you couldn't do it, but because your school couldn't offer it. And now in May, June, you're going to sit an exam, and in the summer, you're going to get probably, hearing you speak there, an A-star or an A in GCSE astronomy. So when people talk about the impact of technology, it's not about does it make things better. Here, access is clearly the one thing that's making a real difference. So what are we doing next? We've proven this works for us in our context. So we're rolling it out from September 15. We've got the funding from the group, and we're lucky that we're a group of schools and we can pool our resources to start teaching 2 A-levels in this manner. We're going to teach physics A-level because, especially in the north of the country, that's something where there just are very few physics teachers in our secondary schools, and we're very lucky to have Rob secured to teach the physics A-level. That's, whoever gets to experience that, that's going to be fantastic. So Rob's going to teach 2 parallel classes, so 28 children are going to get physics A-level and get fantastic teaching experience through that. We're also offering economics as our second one. We asked all the schools what they wanted, and most of them cannot offer economics, and there's a big demand for it. We have yet to identify our economics teacher. We are currently recruiting for a superb economics teacher. So if you'd like to do this and you know someone, or it could be you, please apply. It's on the TES at the moment. From September 16, we'll be offering maths and further maths A-level as well. And after we've finished proving that it works and children leave with results that are... those are our Twitter handles if you wanted to get in contact. Thank you very much for listening.